And we are back on the Zero Hour with Cliff Weathers, senior editor at Alternet, writes on consumer and environmental issues. Before the break, we were talking, Cliff, about cable companies, those massive data-driven monsters who invade our lives to suck our money away, in my personal opinion. And now let's talk about another kind of massive data-driven monster. You wrote a piece for Alternet, and the title was, and I don't know about you, I don't always write my own headlines, but the headline was NSA's massive cyber spying efforts called Superhuman. What's that about?
It is that Kaspersky, which is one of your leading software security companies, you could actually buy their software right at Best Buy if you wanted to. They suggested the U.S. government's behind the spyware, but they found on almost all the hard drives that they've been looking at, on all the types of hard drives. So we're talking about hard drives by Samsung and Maxtor and you name it, just Seagate. And they're finding that this is a very well-hidden sort of back door that allows people to spy into the system. And it wasn't just, they weren't just finding it on computers of people that were doing nefarious things. They were finding this on the computers of people that worked at media companies and so forth. I mean, and this is just like a big, the biggest spy network ever. And it was described by several different analysts as being superhuman. They've never seen anything like this. It's a technological feat that, that basically could infect any computer and make us all vulnerable to being spied on at any time.
So let me just back up on this, because this is a little mind-blowing, and I've heard very little coverage about it. And I know you were working off a Reuters report and so on, but very little. So basically, Kaspersky Labs, a Russian company, is saying that that on the hard drives of all these top manufacturers, almost every one of them, there is some sort of very sophisticated spying program, and that so far, at least according to Reuters, the evidence points toward the NSA. So why isn't this a big deal? Why isn't everybody talking about this?
I think part of the reason is that they see a Russian company and they think all Russia's is Vladimir Putin. Kaspersky is a very Western oriented corporation. Like I said, you people in the U.S. buy their software. They're a multinational that happen to be located in Russia. I think that's part of it. I think that's part of the reason why it didn't resonate in the United States. In Europe, this was big news. The NSA didn't comment on this, but it really, on the Reuters report, I think that they felt that they didn't have to. I don't think this even made the New York Times. And I think that we just don't, we seem to take, in the United States, I think we seem to ignore these things until it hits us. I mean, Edward Snowden can tell you all this stuff is going on, and people get upset about that, but only a very small percentage. I don't think people quite understand the ramifications of government spying and what it can mean to your freedoms and privacy.
Well, what can this thing? What I think you're probably right, and I think people are also, computers. What are you going to do? But what does this thing actually do? It just tracks everything you do and could transmit it somewhere, or?
Right. They could data is very easy to grab and to store. You can take you're just taking bits of data. They could actually sort of look for keywords, anything that you might be doing. A lot of times they're actually looking at emails. They also found that there were some Cisco routers that had actually infected the firmware of these routers that handle email as well. So I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to read people's communications between each other. I don't think they're interested in what websites people are going to. I think it's actually they're looking to spy on them. They're looking to find out, and there could be what they think is legitimate reasons. They could think that this is a counterterrorism method, but this could be used for reasons that opposition research, all sorts of things that might not be good. I mean, the NSA spies on citizens in the United States that haven't done anything. How could they use this against you? What if you have a son that just sort of goofing around with some kids and doing a couple things that may or may not be a misdemeanor. And can they forward this off to your local police department? It's kind of scary that you've got to worry what's the end game here? Is this all, without trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, how far do they go? They have already used NSA spying to arrest people that have not been involved in terrorism,
right.
And will they do this more?
And as you linked to an article by Ars Technica, which is a smart technical website, where the writer says a long list of almost superhuman technical feats illustrates the equation group. That's who they call the mysterious inventors of this thing. Extraordinary skill, painstaking work, and unlimited resources. Well, gee, who has unlimited resources? And then they show the victims. They actually map the victims. High infection rate, Iran, Russian Federation, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Those are the top. Now, what country or entity in the world might be interested in those? So it is very sophisticated. It does seem to point to us. I'm glad you highlighted it, and I just got to say, I'm amazed that other people haven't.
Well, we have to be vigilant. We have to keep looking at these things. We can't always wait for the person that's a whistleblower on the inside. There's not going to be an Edward Snowden coming around every 6 months or a year. We have to look at these things on the outside. We have to look at these software security companies that are finding this. And another thing to say about this, if this is a software security company, some entity that's on the outside that's finding this, what's actually happening on the inside? I mean, it wasn't an outside entity that found all the things that Edward Snowden revealed. I mean,
right.
I'm kind of scared of actually what is going on.